Let us for a few moments meditate on Sri Ramakrishna and pray for peace and happiness of the whole humanity. Om Stapakaya ca dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Stapakaya ca dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namah Asato ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been studying Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, profound teachings of the great Master. If we just focus all our attention on these spiritual instructions, surely we become blessed. We can achieve fulfillment in this life itself. It all depends upon how we will be able to reset the mind. Mind is very important. It is a mind that makes us worldly, and it is the same mind which makes us spiritual. So, for whatever reasons, we have just set the mind in a worldly way, engaging ourselves in activities totally worldly. So in that process, mind has become worldly. So with that worldly mind, you can never expect spiritual achievement. So it is very clear you have to take positive steps in order to make the mind spiritual. That's what I said, resetting the mind. Everyone has to put forth his effort in making the mind spiritual. The whole practice of spirituality is just this, resetting the mind so that mind should engage itself in activities spiritual rather than worldly. Well, facts are given All the instructions are very clear, only we have to act upon. There was a great devotee, his name was Mahimacharan. He would engage himself in discussing scriptures. He was known for his pretentiousness. Sri Ramakrishna loved him and exhorted him to meditate on the meaning of spiritual scriptural texts and to practice spiritual discipline. Sri Ramakrishna loved him because Sri Ramakrishna was infinitely compassionate. Whoever comes to him, Sri Ramakrishna would extend his motherly spiritual love. So, whatever Sri Ramakrishna would say would immediately influence, inspire the person. So, Sri Ramakrishna is telling him pointedly to dwell upon the content, the spiritual content of the scriptures. Not simply reading like a novel. You must read the scriptures with the idea that you would be able to practice them, implement the ideas given in those scriptures. And Sri Ramakrishna said, people, how they behave, they just study little Vedanta and immediately they start indulging in philosophical speculations. It is true. Once I had gone to Calgary in Canada. I was invited to speak in the university. There, the dean of the place, he was telling me, Swamiji, we will have gathering. He was describing to me the nature of audience. And his main intention was it is purely academical. So I should speak in such a way it should satisfy their academic interest. Anyway, I simply laughed myself. What is the use of such kind of programs? Just for fun? You can't achieve anything in that way. You have to be really practical in spiritual. If you are really seeking truth and if you are aspiring to achieve the spiritual goal in this life itself, it is possible. Certainly it is possible. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling you, reading of scriptures is not enough. You must dwell on the meaning. Even we tell, in our Ramakrishna tradition, we initiate spiritual aspirants into spiritual life and instruct them clearly when they keep repeating the divine name, they should dwell upon the meaning. That means japa and meditation should go together. Suppose I am repeating Rama's name. I should visualize Sri Rama's portrait in my mind. I must see him and repeat him. While repeating his name, I must see him. We should practice it. Nothing is easy, but nothing is difficult. Success depends upon practice. I always give the example of learning music. How much practice you have to do to master one song, but afterwards how you will enjoy it immensely. It is just like that. So, always dwell upon the content. When you are repeating Sri Rama's name, you are looking his divine form. And as soon as you are looking at him intently, you will automatically purify your heart. All the noble qualities of Sri Ramchandra would be reflected in your mind. It will have a transforming effect. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling Mahimacharan how he should behave, not simply discussing the matter in a superficial way, but to be practical. A man of true knowledge could not be egotistic. Then Mahimacharan asked a very significant question. These questions are very interesting. How true all these questions and how nicely Sri Ramakrishna answers them. He was asking Sri Ramakrishna a question. Master, can a man live in the world if his mind is once directed to God? People have all sorts of notions, If the mind is directed to God, you'll have to run away from the world. All sorts of stories they create in order to scare. The idea is they don't want to give up their worldly habits. That's the secret. But they give all sorts of reasons. Well, I only say you are deceiving yourself. Sri Ramakrishna answered this question. Why not? Where will he go away from the world? I realize, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, that wherever I live, I am always in the Ayodhya of Sri Ramchandra. This whole world is Sri Rama's Ayodhya. The whole world. See how Sri Ramakrishna is spiritualizing the thing. Your whole outlook is changed. After receiving instruction from his teacher, Vasishtha Maharshi, Sri Ramchandra said, because he was overwhelmed by the teachings of Vasishtha Maharshi, and Sri Ramchandra, extremely pure-hearted, full of noble qualities. So immediately he thought he should renounce the world. And quietly Vasishtha Maharshi said to Sri Ramchandra, well, may I ask you, if this world is outside God? If that is so, then you may give it up. Rama found that it is God alone who has become the universe and all its living beings. In the world, a man must fight against lust, anger, desires, attachment. These are all terrible hurdles in our spiritual path. They won't allow you to step one step forward. They won't allow you to step further. It is convenient to fight all these passions from inside a fort, from his own home. At home, he gets his food and all other help from his wife. It is better to get food at one place than to knock at 7 doors for it. Living at home is like facing the battle from a fort. These are all Sri Ramakrishna's words. He is only indicating that the people who are living a householder life should not become desperate. They should not think they are barred from spiritual life. They have no entry into spiritual realm. No. Sri Ramakrishna says you have free access to spiritual world. As I said in the earlier, you must reset the mind. That's all you should do. Live in the world like a cast-off leaf in a gale. Sri Ramakrishna tells all these things in the gospel. I'm just taking them, putting them in a way that it gives us inspiration. Live in the world like a cast-off leaf in a gale. The leaf goes wherever the wind blows, sometimes to a good place and sometimes to a bad. Now God has put you in the world. That's good. Stay here. Again, when He lifts you from here and puts you in a better place, there will be time enough to think about what to do then. God has put you in the world. What can you do about it? And Sri Ramakrishna himself suggests what should be done. Resign everything to Him. Surrender yourself at His feet. Then there will be no more confusion. Then you will realize God. And you will realize that it is God who does everything. All depends on the will of Rama. Then another important message, which is very relevant for our spiritual life. To practice ahimsa, non-violence, in all aspects, physically, mentally, intellectually. If you are able to maintain yourself in that mood of non-violence, you will be well established in equanimity and you will be in a tranquil state. But if you observe how people keep on criticizing others, finding fault with others, and Sri Ramakrishna says, if you do like that, it's considered as violence. You are hurting. If you criticize a person, you are hurting that person. That is violence. There was a devotee who used to live with Sri Ramakrishna. His name was Hazra. He was a kind of spiritual sadhaka. He thought he was following the path of knowledge. And he would repeat the Mahavakyas, and he would keep rotating his rosaries. It was as if it was making a kind of external show, because lots of people would come to see Sri Ramakrishna and he would be sitting there and doing all these things. Well, when he is totally concentrating upon what he is doing, it's perfectly all right. When a person is doing spiritual practice in a proper way, then it should show up in his behavior. Sri Ramakrishna said to Hazra, because he noticed how Hazra was indulging himself in criticizing people, imposing himself as a most wise person. And Sri Ramakrishna immediately corrected him, and he told him when he was in an abstracted state, that is, he was in a transcendental state. Sri Ramakrishna was in a transcendental state. In that state, he told Hazra, look, you are committing a grave sin. And he pointed out, always you are engaging yourself in criticizing. Don't find fault with anyone. These are the words of Sri Ramakrishna in the Gospel, page 542. Don't find fault with anyone, not even with an insect. As you pray to God for devotion, so also pray that you may not find fault with anyone. But we should not confuse this idea. The Guru finds, in order to teach the disciple, he will point out, you should not do like this, you have been doing like this, you are not doing meditation properly, you are not doing sadhana regularly. You should not think, oh, Guru is criticizing me. No, not at all. So you have to be very careful in understanding, assimilating these spiritual instructions properly. So, Sri Ramakrishna has said, all the Mahatmas, they have told the same thing. Don't criticize anybody. It's a waste of time. And not only that, by criticizing others, you are taking their sins into your mind. There's a famous episode which I am tempted to tell you in this connection. There was a king. He has everything, plenty. But he was not happy because he was suffering from very dirty disease, leprosy. So he felt very miserable. What wretched life is this? It's true. He has got great kingdom. He belongs to a great dynasty. All the people love him. He has all the noble qualities. But his body is so wretched, diseased, sickly body. And he felt ashamed of himself. So, a kind of dispassion developed in his heart. See, during those days, when they feel any problem, they would seek advice from the elders. In the same way, this king went to the Maharshi, who was the priest of the kingdom, Kulaguru. He met him in the forest, and he was looking very depressed, and the Maharshi asked him, why are you so depressed? What's the reason? You got everything, all the people are doing well, the whole kingdom is full of prosperity. Why should you be depressed? And he said in a very low voice, Sir, I have got everything, it's true, but I am suffering from this dirty disease, leprosy. Is there any way to cure this disease? Can you help me? Then the Maharshi sat for a while and then looked at him and said, well, it can be done. But you have to follow my instructions properly, then it can be cured. Immediately he got a hope. Well, oh, Maharshi is so gracious and is assuring me that he will be cured of this disease. Then he said, well, please tell me what should I do. Then immediately pointed in a particular direction and asked the king, look there. What are you seeing there? He said, I am seeing two mountains, big mountains. How they look? One is jet black, another is milky white. Both are side by side. Not milky white, it's golden. The other one is golden. One is black, another is golden. Then he said, he showed in the other direction. Look there. He saw. What are you seeing there? Heap of trash. Very good. Go and eat the trash. What, Swamiji? You are telling me to do impossible thing. How can I eat the trash? So he felt helpless. And then he said, well, now I will give you instruction. It is possible for you to do it, but you must do it if you are really thinking to get rid of this disease. Well, he agreed finally. Then he said, you know that king had a sister-in-law who had become a widow. You know, in the palace, they've got so many quarters. So she had separate quarters for herself. And Maharshi told this king, look, during sunset, go and spread your mat in front of the door of your sister-in-law. Don't enter into inside. Don't enter. Just outside, you spread your couch and lay down there Swamiji, what are you telling? What the people think, what is this king is staying in front of the sister-in-law's home, etc. Don't ask such questions. Just follow what I say. Just do it. Well, he had to agree because it can be done. It's not impossible. It is not like eating the trash. And the Maharshi told him, you have to do this for a few days, not simply 1 or 2 days. For a few days. He prescribed the time limit. Every day he must go, lay down there, and up to midnight he should be there. Afterwards he can return. Well, he started doing that. People walking in the street, they became abusive. What nonsense this king is doing. We thought the king was very high, noble and very good king. Now we see he's full of lust, and he wants to enjoy his sister-in-law. All sorts of things. They began to criticize right and left. It was like he was being pierced by a needle. He felt like that way. He felt terrible anguish, pain all over the body, hearing all these abuses. But he tolerated because the Maharshi has told him to do. He has to keep quiet, not to react in any manner. Just swallow whatever they talk. Let them talk. The whole town was talking about the king's behavior. Go and see. It is not a story. It is not a fiction. It is happening. Just evening, he is going and spreading his mad shamelessly and laying down there. After the stipulated time, he came to the Maharshi and said, "Sir, I followed your instructions as you said." Very good. Look at there. What you see there? Oh, there were 2 mountains. One was very jet black mountain and the other one was golden. The jet black mountain is already almost diminished. Now look your body now. He saw there was no leprosy at all gone. He was surprised and asked, how could it be? Then Maharshi explained, look, do you know what happened? All your sins have been taken by those people who criticized you. They have just washed your whole mind. They have washed it. You must be grateful to them. So by criticizing, the sins are taken by people who are criticizing. So he was cured, but those people are cut by so many things. Anyway, the point is that your mind should not go in that fashion at all. Stop it. Even if, on account of some reason, if the mind reacts, still control it. Never do that. That's a spiritual quality. Criticizing is very natural. Everybody does it. There's nothing special in that. If you don't criticize, that is special. Really special. So, finding fault with others, using harsh, abusive language, criticizing people, trying to go ahead of others in any sphere of life by pushing them behind or competing with them, these are all subtle modes of violence, subtle modes. They have become an inseparable part of our existence. These must first be recognized and accepted as undesirable and contrary to the ideal of non-violence. Then only we shall be able to get over them. Since all creatures are, in the absolute sense, one, And since the goal of ahimsa is to intuitively realize one's solidarity with all creation, to meditate constantly on this truth, and to direct and attune one's thoughts and actions according to this highest truth, is the most direct and immediate practice of ahimsa. Let us constantly remind ourselves that the worm crawling on the path, the cat, the dog, the beggar, the thief, and the saint, and the sinner, all are our own self. This feeling, at the psychological level, flowers into love in its truest sense. Mahatma Gandhiji equates ahimsa with love. There could be no better exemplar of this than the Holy Mother, Sri Sharda Devi, who could say that she was the mother of all, even of insects and moths. Her central message, if you read her life, you find she said, when she was about to cast off her body, she said, well, my last message to all of you is this. If you're really aspiring for spiritual growth, don't find fault with others. None is a stranger, my child. All are your own. Learn to make the whole world your own. It's the most important and practical instruction for ahimsa. Although Swami Vivekananda's cardinal message centers around the concept of mukti or freedom, he doesn't underrate ahimsa. Swami Vivekananda has said, if your freedom hurts others, you are not free there. You must not hurt others. So, this is a very important instruction which is very helpful for us. Another important teaching Sri Ramakrishna has said, which is very useful for us. There was one devotee, his name was Ishan. He was a great ritualistic. He was a ritualist. He was devoted to the performance of various rites and ceremonies prescribed by the scriptures. One day, he was discussing the matter with Sri Ramakrishna. Then Sri Ramakrishna, when he saw Ishan, he opened the conversation. Well, nowadays, you don't have to attend to worldly duties. Spend a few days thinking of God. What are these things you busy yourself with? This arbitration and leadership? Because he was engaged in such activities. The Divine Mother says to herself, my child over there is now busy arbitrating and is very happy. Let him be. Arbitration and leadership? How trifling these are. Charity and doing good to others. You have had enough of these. Those who are to devote themselves to such things belong to a different class. Now the time is ripe for you to devote your mind to the lotus feet of God. First God, then charity, doing good to others. Why need you worry about these things? Ravan died in Lanka and Behula wept for him bitterly. Be mad with the love of God. Let people know that Ishan has gone mad and cannot perform worldly duties anymore. then people will no longer come to you for leadership and arbitration. Throw aside all this ritualistic attitude. Your name is Ishan. Justify your name. How long must a man continue the Sandhya? As long as he has not developed love for the lotus feet of God. As long as he doesn't shed tears and his hair doesn't stand on end when he repeats God's name. When the fruit grows, the flower drops off. When one has developed love of God and has beheld Him, then one gives up the Sandhya and other rites. No more rites are needed afterwards. So, these are all intensely practical teachings which Sri Ramakrishna has given to us. Let us try to be spiritual honestly. God will help us. Tremendously He will help. Page 750. Cultivate devotion and love of God, and so pass your days. What else can you do? When Krishna went away, Yashoda became insane with grief and visited Radha. Radha was moved by her sorrow and appeared before her as Adya Shakti. She said, "My child, ask a boon of me." Yashoda replied, "Mother, what else shall I ask of you? Bless me that I may serve Krishna alone with my body, mind and speech, that I may behold his devotees with these eyes, that I may go with these feet to the place where his divine sport is manifested, that I may serve him and his devotees with these hands, and that I may devote all my sense organs to his service alone." As Sri Ramakrishna uttered these words, he was about to go into ecstasy. Suddenly he exclaimed, "Kali, the embodiment of destruction? No, Nitya Kali, my eternal divine mother." With great difficulty, he restrained himself. He was starting to say more about Yashoda when Mahendra Mukherjee arrived. Mahendra and his younger brother Priya had been visiting the master for some time. Mahendra owned a flour mill and other businesses. His brother was an engineer. Both the brothers engaged people to manage their affairs and therefore had considerable leisure. Mahendra was 36 or 37 and his brother 2 years younger. Besides their country home at Kedati, they had a house at Bag Bazar, Calcutta. A young devotee named Hari accompanied them on their visit to Sri Ramakrishna. Hari was married but greatly devoted to the master. Mahendra and Hari had not visited Dakshineshwar for a long time. They saluted Sri Ramakrishna. Master asked him, "Hello, why haven't you visited Dakshineshwar for so long?" Mahendra replied, "Sir, I have been away from Calcutta. I was at Kedati." Master, "You have no children, you don't serve anybody, and still you have no leisure. Goodness gracious." The devotees remained silent. Mahendra was a little embarrassed. Master said to Mahendra, "Why am I saying all this to you? You are sincere and generous. You have love for God." Mahendra said, "You are saying these words for my good." Master said smilingly, "You see, we don't take any collection during the performance at our place. Jadu's mother says to me, other sadhus always ask for money, but you don't. Only people feel annoyed if they have to spend money. A theatrical performance was being given at a certain place. A man felt a great desire to take a seat and see it. He peeped in and saw that a collection was being taken from the audience. Quietly he slipped away. Another performance was being given at a month. He went to Keshav's house to see a performance. Sri Ramakrishna is telling this. I was there too. Rakhal and a few other devotees were with me and sat beside me. After a while, Rakhal went out for a few minutes. The deputy magistrate came over and made his young son take Rakhal's seat. I said, he can't sit there. At that time, I was in such a state of mind that I had to do whatever the person next to me would ask me to do. So I had seated Rakhal beside me. As long as the performance lasted, the deputy did nothing but gibber with his son. The rascal did not look at the performance even once. I heard too that he is a slave to his wife. He gets up and sits down as she tells him so. And he didn't see the performance for that snub-nosed monkey of a boy. To Mahendra, Sri Ramakrishna was asking, do you practice meditation? Mahendra said, yes sir, a little. Then Master said, come to Dakshineshwar now and then. Mahendra said smilingly, yes sir, I will. You know where my knots and twists are. You will straighten them out. Master said smilingly, first come to Dakshineshwar, then I shall press your limbs to see where your twists are. Why don't you come? Mahendra said, because of the pressure of my duties. Besides, I have to go to my country home now and then. Master to Mahendra, pointing his finger at the devotees. Have they no homes or dwelling places? Have they no duties? How is it that they come? Let us stop here. Now it's your session. You can ask any question, any discussion. There is a standard answer. Swamiji, everything is nice to hear, but difficult to practice. But no, when you come to Vedanta, not only it's easy to hear, it's easy to practice also. Why? Because you are all sincere. Otherwise you would not have come. You will have a million reasons to say that you could not come. Weather is bad, snow, cold. It's all convincing reasons. Windy. Today I told you the solution. Do not find fault. Each one is responsible for himself or herself. If you just criticize a person, you will be taking his sin into your system. That enters into your bloodstream. Don't criticize. People behave in their own way. You are also one of the people. You behave as you want to. In the same way, he behaves in whatever he wants to behave. Let him have freedom as you have freedom. For you, it may look awkward. For him, you may look awkward. Oh, this guy looks very out of sort. Why? He is always going to Vedanta. What is the reason? So they begin to make stories for you. They criticize you because they want worldly life. So, For anything they can criticize. Best thing is take the good points in everybody. Everybody has got a good point. Take the good point, dwell upon it, and be happy. That's one way. Another way is concentrate upon what you should do, be satisfied with that. That's all. Otherwise you can't do anything. And moreover, as Sri Ramakrishna said, the whole world, it depends on how you look at it. If you look upon this whole world is God's abode, then nothing will affect you. The whole creation belongs to God, and His responsibility. He will take care of it. Why should I bother about it? That attitude. So first seek God. That's what Sri Ramakrishna tells. First put your effort. Concentrate. Develop your spiritual personality. Meditate well. Be sincere. Be honest. Everything will be straightened out by Sri Ramakrishna. So, you have to build up your samskaras properly. That's what I told in the beginning. Resetting the mind. Resetting the mind. So each person views the world in his own way. So I already told that nobody should think that you have no access to spirituality. Everybody has got access. Everybody has got. Only you must aspire for it. If you don't have aspiration, then even though there is an access, you are not able to see it at all. Even though there is exit door, you are blind, you can't see. You're just wandering here and there in search of the door. That's all. Any question anymore? What is that? Oh. Karma means action. Samskara means the result of action. Suppose a man does good things, it will be stored in the mind in the form of impression. Anything else? Do you have any question? No. Sounds sane, huh? Shomitra. You have told me many times, still I've... Very good. We shall stop. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust, raging furiously within. O name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self, drowned deep in the waves of his bliss, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name that bath for very souls. Various are thy names, O Lord. In each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant. O sweet one, in thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stealest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers. May all realize what is good. May all be actuated by noble thoughts. May all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy. May all be free from disease. May all realize what is good. May none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous attain tranquility. May the tranquil be free from bonds. May the freed make others free. May good betide all people. May the sovereign righteously rule the earth. May all beings ever attain what is good. May the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time. May the earth be blessed with crops. May all countries be free from calamity. May holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.